What's going on, guys? This is just another critic back with another video. Today, I'm going to be talking about who I believe are the leading Heisman candidates after week 5. Some of them are going to be obvious, of course, and then we do have a few outliers that you may have not even heard of. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. First person on the list, and these are in no particular order. I'm going to be going over my top 5. Not, like I said, not necessarily in order, just the top 5 guys that I think are leading the Heisman candidate race at this point after week 5. Number 1, I got to go with Tua Tagovailoa. Just look at the guy's numbers. A lot of people are saying that they haven't played anyone. They haven't played anyone good. Up to this point, I guess the 2 biggest teams they've played have been Ole Miss and Texas A&M. And A&M obviously gave Clemson a pretty good game and nearly beat them in the last quarter of the game. But people still really aren't giving the guy any credit. But if you take a look at his numbers, it's just stupid impressive. At this point, he's thrown 66. So he's gone 66 for 88. For 1,100 passing yards. So he's thrown 88 times, completed 66 of them for 1,100 yards, and he has a completion percentage of 75%, which is stupid. He's got 14 passing touchdowns and no interceptions, as well as 2 rushing touchdowns, and he typically only plays 2 quarters a game. Because Coach Saban is going to pull him out to protect him and to give his younger guys more reps. With that being said, moving along, second guy is Trace McSorley. Obviously, he's been on my list for most of the year. Not necessarily for, I guess, what he does with his arm. It's mostly just the type of plays that he makes in-game that don't show up on the stat sheet and keeping his team alive. But his stat sheet actually looks pretty solid as well. He's thrown for 138 attempts, completed 73 of those for 1,000 passing yards. He has a 52% completion percentage, 10 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 6 rushing touchdowns. So his stats really aren't that bad at all. They're actually pretty solid. And me personally, I've been saying Trace McSorley's been carrying Penn State up to this point. Yes, Miles Sanders is a good running back, and their defense showed, they showed some grit this weekend against Ohio State, but I really think it was Trace McSorley that kept them in the game. And I believe if that game was at a neutral site or at Ohio State, Penn State would have got blown out. I think the crowd played a big part in that game. But yeah, moving along, we've got Will Grier. If he isn't on your Heisman candidate list, I don't know what the hell you're watching, because this guy has a stupid good arm. Like, his arm is, I would compare him just as good, if not a little lesser than Tua. He's really smart. He gets rid of the ball super fast, so he's not really giving the defense much time to close in on him. So I'm really interested to see how West Virginia matches up against Oklahoma when that game comes towards the end of the season. Up to this point, Will Grier's thrown for 136 attempts, completed 98 of those for a completion percentage of 72%. He's thrown for 1,500 passing yards, 17 passing touchdowns, and he has 3 interceptions on the season. So pretty good stat sheet so far. The next guy that I'm about to bring up, I have mentioned him a few times, but he may not be on your radar at all. He plays at the University of Hawaii, and his name is Cole McDonald. A lot of people are saying, well, he plays at Hawaii, so obviously his stats are going to be great. But if his stats are great, he wouldn't be on this list. His stats are freaking stupid ridiculous. That's why he's on this list, and that's why I believe he should be in the race. At this point, he's thrown 240 attempts, completed 156 of those for 2,100 passing yards, the most in the nation, 65% completion rate, and he's thrown for 24 passing touchdowns. 24 passing touchdowns for 2 interceptions. So I don't care what league he plays in, what conference he plays in. If you're putting up these types of numbers in any type of FBS conference, you deserve to be looked at least, especially with 24 passing touchdowns and only 2 interceptions for 240 attempts. That's really good. That's really good for regardless of what conference you're playing in. And along with that, 2 rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I don't see why this guy shouldn't be in the race. I get it. He plays at Hawaii. However, his stats are just ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous that he deserves to have at least the 5th spot. And he deserves to be at least on the ballot if he keeps these numbers up. Last but not least, you probably guessed it, we've got Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray having a phenomenal season. Obviously, his best season in college to date. He was at A&M, then transferred to Oklahoma. Baker was there. This is his first season where he's got the offense all to himself. And up to this point, he's had statistically, he's had a great season. He's thrown for 109 attempts, completed 77 of those for 70% completion rate. And he's thrown just about 1,500 passing yards for 17 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's got a total of 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which, like I said, that's whenever you keep your interceptions low, whenever you keep your turnover rate as low as possible, that's always phenomenal. It's just efficiency. And I mean, yeah, you can see it on your screen if you're watching here on YouTube. We got Tua, Trace, Will, Cole, Kyler, and I've got 2 other guys that I wanted to mention. And these guys, I say they're on the rise as far as they might be able to pop into the Heisman race if they keep up their numbers. First, I have John Ursua, and he actually plays at the University of Hawaii with Cole McDonald. Funny thing is that I actually grew up with the guy, and he was always a crazy athlete. But at this point, he's got 50 receptions, and he's about to break his personal record as far as how many receptions he's had in a season. And he's got 771 reception yards, most in the nation, with a total of 13 touchdowns, 12 reception touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. So he not only has the most reception yards in the nation, but he also has the most reception touchdowns in the nation. And like I mentioned, he does play at the University of Hawaii with Cole McDonald. And the only reason he's on this list is because of how ridiculous these numbers are. Like I said, I get it. They play at Hawaii. They play in a weaker conference. But anytime you can play in the FBS and put up these type of ridiculous numbers, you deserve to be at least looked at. With that being said, I also have Benny Snell Jr., who plays at the University of Kentucky, who's having a great season so far. Up until this point, he's got 115 attempts for 639 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. Now, basically his stat line up to this point, he's beating out Jonathan Taylor over at the University of Wisconsin. So a lot of people have Jonathan Taylor as a top 5 Heisman candidate up to this point. But if Benny Snell Jr. is beating him out in the numbers and playing in the SEC, I certainly think he deserves to be looked at, if not on the list, especially with the 5-0 record at the University of Kentucky. With that being said, pretty much covered it all. These are my guys that I'm looking at right now. These are the guys who I believe are leading the Heisman candidate race. And if they're not, like guys like Cole McDonald or John Ursua or Benny Snell, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not on the list at this point. But I do think if they keep up the type of stats that they're continuing to put up every single game, there's no reason why they shouldn't be looked at or even put on the list for someone like Cole McDonald or even Benny Snell Jr. With that being said, guys, if you enjoy my content, please go ahead and give me a like, comment, even subscribe. Appreciate your time today. I am going to be dropping a few other videos with the Week 6 predictions as well as the upset alerts of the week. Like I said, I appreciate you guys' time. This is just another critic signing off, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.